Hey, today I'm talking about 3 movies that were recommended to me by my brothers. And the names of those 3 movies are Don't Breathe, Heist, and Last House on the Left. First up is Don't Breathe. This is a 2016 film recommended to me by my brother Justin. I was aware of this movie going into it. I finally decided to give it a go because I recently discovered the amazing actress Jane Levy. I have a giant crush on her right now. She is just, ugh. And so I want to watch more of her stuff, and she's in this movie. So I was like, all right, let's give it a watch. Now, the basic premise is about this group of young adults who go around robbing houses, and they stumble across this in particular house that is kind of bad news bears. Now, the plot is very straightforward. I knew pretty much every single plot point. I wasn't ever really surprised by any plot stuff. The characters are very stock characters. Like you've seen them in countless movies. I in particular hated what they did with the only non-white character. They made him a very stereotypical angry black man, a thug, and it was like, this is borderline gross. But putting all that stuff aside, this movie is incredible. What they lack for in originality and in-depth characters, they greatly make up for with emotion. They emotionally manipulate you so well. The movie is just so tense. Like, yeah, you know what's gonna happen, but that doesn't matter because you're just so gripped by everything. You're literally on the edge of your seat, all tensed up, just being like, oh, what's gonna happen next? I mean, I know what's gonna happen next, but what's gonna happen next? They nail it so well. It's such a good suspense thriller. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a fan of that genre, but I also just recommend it in general. Again, you're not gonna be surprised by the plot or the characters, and the one's maybe a little bit racist, but otherwise, God, it's a great movie. You're gonna get blown away. It's so freaking good. Next up is Heist. This is a 2001 movie starring Gene Hackman and has Sam Rockwell in it as well. Oh, and Danny DeVito too. I forgot about him for a second. This was recommended to me by Kyle and also technically Justin. And the basic premise is it's a heist movie. There's just a bunch of heist stuff happening and lots of backstabbing. Not everyone's being completely honest with each other and so much manipulation. And it does every single heist movie thing. The name is pretty apt. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. It was definitely middle of the road to me. Nothing about it really like jumped out as like, yeah, this is amazing. I did thoroughly enjoy seeing Gene Hackman. He's one of my favorite actors. Now, I always love seeing Sam Rockwell. Again, one of my favorite actors. I don't know, I never was able to get fully on board with the movie. And I think it's because it never felt like I was in on the plan. Like I knew pretty much whatever they were saying was bullshit. That like, if they were saying this one thing, that's probably not true. And like, if it looks like this thing's gonna happen, or if it looks like the bad guys ever have the upper hand, that's not gonna happen. The good guys know what they're doing. They have so many backup plans you don't even know. And it's like, I wanna feel like I'm a part of the team. I wanna feel like I'm in on the action, that I have like an idea of what's happening. So like I feel smart or something, but it didn't. It was just lots of twists and turns and stuff. The thing that I liked the most about this movie though was like the actual big heist. In particular, how it was basically silent while they were doing the job. They had practiced the job so many times that like they don't need to say anything. They barely even need to look at each other. They just know, I'm doing this thing, you're doing that thing. No one needs to exchange words because we got this. And that kind of also goes off of like one of my other favorite moments of the movie. And that's when Sam Rockwell and Gene Hackman are like leaving a bar and Sam wants to talk about the heist and Gene's like, no, don't do that. And Sam's like, no, what? Why not? There's no one around to hear us. And then Gene says something to the effect of, no one can hear what isn't said. And then he just walks away and I'm like, yeah. But yeah, it was good. I definitely enjoyed it. Not as much as Kyle and probably not as much as Justin, but I don't regret watching it. If you enjoy heist movies, this is definitely worth checking out. But don't expect to like get your mind blown by anything. It's good. It's just not amazing. And lastly is Last House on the Left. This is a 1972 Wes Craven film recommended to me by Josh, who is the Asterix brother. He's just around my family so much that my dad has playfully referred to him as the fourth Mo son. So he's, in effect, a brother. The basic premise is it's about these escaped prisoners who rape and torture two innocent women, and then there's some other murder stuff that happens as well. It was a big controversial film back in the day just because its depiction of sex and violence. It's fairly graphic, even by today's standards. I don't know how to feel about this film because it really comes off as this is definitely Wes Craven's first film and he's trying really hard. You can really see the rough edges of everything and the acting's really bad. Apparently this was gonna be a porno originally and you can definitely tell that. And then even going to a lot of the violence, you can tell that this had no budget because there really weren't any great kill things. I mean, it was plenty violent, but it's just They didn't do a good job with the rapey stuff because it was very, very uncomfortable. But I also just got bored with the movie. It kind of failed to keep my attention because it's just so, I don't want to say amateurish because that makes you sound pretentious, but the word fits well. I can tell what they're going for. And I definitely feel the passion behind the film. And I do recognize this movie's kind of importance within film history. So I didn't really care for this movie. I didn't hate it though. I ended up putting it in the meh category. So yeah, Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Don't Breathe sitting at number 5 in the really like category. And then after that, we have Heist sitting at number 21 in the liked category. And then bringing up the rear is Last House on the Left, sitting at number 28 in the meh category. And that is out of a total of 36 old movies so far this year.